Have you seen that new trailer? Wii Esports now. Hello and welcome everyone to a video that at first I was going to make a standalone, but then I realized it kind of fits into Road to Worlds pretty well. So welcome to yet another episode of Road to Worlds. I have no idea when the next one's going to come out, but here we go. Last night, God, I could not fall asleep until 2 AM because I was so hyped. Bushiroad announced how the tournament structure is going to work for next year, 2017, and it is looking good. This is a big step in the right direction. So, if you've been playing Vanguard competitively, or well, trying to play competitively for as long as you may have, even if you started this year, you may have noticed that the tournament structure until now hasn't been all that great because there's been, best of one is always going to be a bad thing, but double elimination has made a comeback this year, and that was horrible. And there's quite a few factors that just have not made the competitive scene as fun, and therefore decreased the total competitivity, if that's a word, of the game itself. But for next year, Bushiroad has introduced the Bushiroad Championship Series, which applies to all of their games, so Vanguard, Vice, BuddyFight, and Luck and Logic. And you can see that in the hype trailer. I'll leave a link for the trailer in the description because I need to watch at least 10 more times to get enough of it. But how the Championship Series works is that it's going to replace Team League. It's kind of sad because Team League had this nice atmosphere to it that you would go with teams, you'd play with friends, and then even if you finish your game, you're watching your friends play, and it's so exciting to watch them play, and the whole team spirit thing is really nice. So I'm kind of sad. I know a lot of other people are sad that Team League is going to leave, but in exchange, we're essentially making the entire tournament format and series a bit more competitive. So there are a lot of changes, and when I first saw the news last night, I was so confused for a good hour, and then I had to just break it down and read everything one by one. So I'm going to break it down and go over everything step by step to make it as easily understandable for all of you and for myself as well. So let's get right to it. So first off, this championship series is split into two parts, the Spring Circuit and the Autumn Circuit. The Spring Circuit goes from March to July of 2017, and the Autumn Circuit goes from August to November. And another big change, there are no more Continentals. Instead of Continentals, the winner of each regional, but only the winner, goes straight to Japan in January of 2018. So up till now, we've always had regionals, then Continentals, and then the winners of Continentals go to Japan. None of that anymore. This is really similar to, I want to compare it to Pokemon system, because instead of just having one shot, how we've always had with Vanguard essentially, you're now playing throughout the year in these regionals, in these circuits, and as soon as you win one, you're in Worlds. So what Pokemon does is that they have a championship point quota that you need to reach, and then you're qualified for Worlds. So here, instead of the quota, you just have to win a regional, which, it's going to be difficult because I think with these changes, we're going to have a lot more people coming to regionals, but let's go over the changes before I get carried away. And now another important thing is that both the winners of the Spring Circuit and the Autumn Circuit regionals, they all go to the same finals in January of 2018. So, for example, if you win in the Spring Circuit and then you don't play at all in the Autumn Circuit, you will still be qualified for the one in January because you just have to win one regional throughout the entire year to be qualified. And now the biggest change that everybody's exploding about is that it's a 2-day tournament. Vanguard is finally becoming a 2-day tournament, and this is really big news. However, they did state on their website that if there is not enough player turnout, then they can still do just 1 day, because they will only do 6 rounds, but then I can't remember how many people you need for 6 rounds, but I think in order to have just 6 rounds, you'd have to have less than 128 players or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's how it is. But as long as you have more than that, you will have a 2-day tournament. And now, how it's going to work is that day 1 will be 7 rounds of Swiss, not double elimination, not single elimination, Swiss, meaning you play as much as you want or you play until you get the top cut. Now, day 2 will take the top 32 or 64 or 128, depending on player turnout on day 1, and they will proceed to day 2. An important thing to note is that you must use the same deck that you used on day 1 in day 2. because you can't just change the deck overnight like how you can in some other TCGs, but here you must use the same deck. And now there's some numbers on how many players proceed to day 2, so I'll just read them out. If your regional has less than 256 players, then the top 32 will be day 2. If your regional has 256 to 511, then the day 2 will be top 64. And if your regional has more than 511 players, we're looking at you, California, New York, then you'll have 128 players day 2. So that's still a lot. And in day 2, the biggest thing, best of 3. Still Swiss, best of 3 until top 8 cut, and then when you're in top 8, then it becomes single elimination, as it should, because you know, you're just kind of going from top 8, top 4, finals, and that's it. So I'm kind of thinking that because you have a top 32 player cut, then even if you have like 130 players at your regional and you have a day 2 system, then even if you finish X2, you should still have a chance to qualify for day 2. So those are just, I'm kind of thinking about it, but I'm not too sure. Like, we'll see when the tournaments actually begin, but that's just my thought process for now. Now, Bushiroad has stated that day 1 and day 2 could possibly be on separate days, on separate weekends, but I feel like they only said this as a safety net. So, like, for example, if you have a day 1 tournament and then, like, something bad happens on the day that was supposed to be day 2, they can put it on the next week. But I feel like that's just a safety net. I don't think they will put it on separate weekends because that's just illogical and that's how you kill a game. But I think they only wrote that as a safety net, so just in case something happens, they can put it on a separate week. So I'm pretty sure that's just a safety net. Now, in terms of round times, I'll just read them out. So for the best of 1 part of day 1, you have 25 minutes per round, and for the best of 3 part of day 2, you have 50 minutes per round. So that's kind of okay, because essentially you'll be able to play your 2 games, and then if you go 1-1, then third game will probably just be in time. And in terms of time, and they said that at regionals, time will always be extra turns, so no double loss. If your organizer does double loss, they will have a problem with Bushiroad, and you are allowed to report that to Bushiroad, because on Bushiroad's website it says regionals will do just extra turns. The only ones that can do double loss are shop challenges, and we're going to talk about that later. And as always, anybody can participate in regionals, just like in every year, but if you win shop challenges, you have a bit of an edge. So I'm going to talk about them soon, so let's just finish up with regionals first. Other little details is that top 8 pins will probably make a return. They kind of mentioned that top 8 will get some prize, but they haven't said which one, but it's probably just a pin. And then top 3 of each regional will get certificates, and then only first place goes to Japan, as I've mentioned that before. So they get their trip and hotel paid for, and nobody else even gets the invite to World Finals. And the only side activity is free fight, so it's kind of sad because it would be nice if they maybe set up Team League as a side event once you're knocked out or once you want to stop. But I understand that, but it would also be nice. But in terms of the only thing I would like to see now, well, apart from best of 3 on day 1, because that would also be really nice, but this is a step in the right direction, but best of 3 on day 1 would also be nice. But apart from that, I would like maybe for top 8 or top 4 to get special playmats or something special apart from a certificate and a pin that you can use while playing, or like sleeves. But we'll see if that happens, but it would be pretty cool. So that's kind of it for regionals. I hope I summarized that pretty well. There's a lot of information, but I think I kind of got it all over with. But let's move on to shop challenges, and this is another really big part of the tournament circuit in 2017. So shop challenges are going to be organized by your local store, essentially. So if you have one near you, you can go there or ask them to organize one. Otherwise, you can travel a bit like me, because my local's closed down. But anyway, yeah, so shop challenges are just local. So, and if you win a shop challenge, you get a buy card for a regional. What a buy card does, if you haven't realized it already, is that when you go to regional, you present it, and the first round of the regional, you win automatically. You don't have to play it. You got the win automatically by winning the shop challenge. So you kind of get 1 round of spying around, you know, kind of looking around what the others are playing, preparing yourself, maybe, you know, kind of relaxing before it starts. So they did this for Germany and England in Europe this year, but I'm not sure if they did it for America or Asia or Oceania, but yeah. They're doing this for everyone now, so that's a really, really nice step in the right direction. And shop challenge organizers can choose to have either best of 1 or best of 3 for the entire shop challenge, so make sure to push best of 3 because it's definitely nicer. And here, time roundup can be either extra turns or double loss. It depends on the tournament organizers, so make sure you clear that up before the tournament starts. And now they also specified how top cuts should work in shop challenges. So they said if 4 or less participants, then you do round robin. If 5 to 16 participants, then you cut to top 4 after Swiss. And then if more than 16 participants, then you cut to top 8 after Swiss. And yes, Swiss. Shop challenges will be Swiss. It makes sense, and it will stay like that. So Shop Challenge champions will receive both the buy card and a certificate, which I kind of didn't expect because it's kind of just like a local, but I mean, cool, sure, why not? And finally, let's go over some specifications about the buy card. So, buy cards can only be used for the specified game, so if you win for Vanguard, you can't use it for Five Schwartz or Buddy Fight or Luck and Logic. And buy cards are region specific, so if you get one in Europe, you cannot travel to America for your holidays and use it there. And buy cards are season specific, so if you get one in the spring circuit and you don't use it, then you cannot use it in the autumn one. They're specific for their own seasons. And you cannot pass your buy cards to a friend because there is a high chance that they're going to check for ID. So basically your buy card might be just attached to your ID, or they're going to keep track of a list of people with buy cards. But obviously there are shady locals who might be able to organize shop challenges. Greece. But yeah, hopefully this can stay clean and we'll see how that goes. And the final detail about buy cards is that a player can have more than one buy card, but they said you can only use one buy card per regional per game. At first I kind of thought that you could get round 1 and 2 buys with buy cards, but it seems that you can only use one buy card per regional, so I guess it's just round 1. But that's still pretty nice because now you have a motive to basically try hard at shops to have a little edge in regionals. So definitely I recommend taking competitive Vanguard more seriously. This is a really big step in the right direction. Bushiroad has one up their game like crazy, and people are still criticizing them. I'm seeing on Facebook people are like, oh, but you know, day 1, day 2 could be in different weekends thing. They don't realize that it's a safety net, or some stuff like, oh, we still have best of 1 on day 2. But at the same time, I feel like that's not necessarily a bad thing, because at least we get best of 3 day 2, which is much more important in my opinion. Although, like, you do need to get through day 1 to get into day 2, but once you do, it's like, you know. But basically, that's it for the competitive scene for 2017. I'm really excited. I'm actually really motivated to try hard next year because, like, the structure up till now has been kind of demotivating, honestly, but right now this is looking good and I'm really hyped, and I hope you are as well. So that's pretty much it for me. I really wanted to get this video out and talk about all these new changes because there's so many, and I can understand that other people are getting confused or missing some details and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys think about this new tournament structure. As I said, I'm personally super hyped and I hope you are as well. That's pretty much it for me. I'll see you guys next time.